I think, you know, when I've reflected on some of the people that have really influenced my life, actually they have come from really surprising places.
Michael, here we are. Martin's away, so you very kindly agreed to substitute for him, and that's great. In case anybody doesn't know who this is Michael Robinson, the Bishop's chaplain. So good to be here, and thank you for letting us use your premises.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I noticed when you've done these before and Bishop Martin's been away, you've asked great theologians, the Archbishop of Canterbury, and I clearly was the obvious person on the list.
Next on the list. You've read me like a book.
No, well, thank you for that great vote of confidence.
So what have we got? We've got this week. We've got Matthew 15, the Canaanite woman who comes to Jesus because her child is demon possessed.
Yeah.
So do you want to kick off with your thoughts about that?
Well, yeah. It's a text that's troubled me in the past, particularly with Jesus saying those quite harsh words, sort of comparing this woman to a dog, and it seems so out of character.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward, isn't it? I mean, if you look at the word dog in the Bible, I don't think dog ever gets a positive reference.
No.
Dog lovers are not going to find a good time in Scripture. So anyway, carry on.
No, so I've been troubled by it, and I've heard people preach on it before, and they've just kind of skirted around the issue and say things like, well, Jesus sometimes gets angry, you know, that's the kind of person he was. And that's true. But I don't think this is an instance of Jesus actually getting angry with this person. A Roman Catholic priest that I've known for many years used to be an actor, and he really encouraged me to look at some of the difficult passages of Scripture and think about who's being addressed and what the dynamics might be if you were to imagine a scene. And when I looked at this text, Jesus doesn't really talk to the woman. He never really addresses her directly. It's almost like he's talking to the apostles. And here comes this lady, she's shouting in the street, she's shouting at Jesus. Then she starts shouting at the apostles, and they say, you know, can you send her away? You know, almost, you know, give her what she wants. And Jesus says that line, I've only come to save the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And it's almost like, I think, that Jesus is repeating a line to them that they may have said to him. It's a line that is so out of character that it just feels like, you know, they're being bothered by this woman, and he's saying, okay, let's.
So this is what you would be like with her. So I'm now going to enact just what you are like towards this woman.
Exactly.
And let's see how you think that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she responds, and Jesus responds back, but he doesn't actually. The text doesn't say he says to her. It's just Jesus answered. It's almost like he's still speaking to the apostles. Here is this woman of great faith, and Jesus says, "O woman of great faith." So clearly in the dynamics here, Jesus has already recognised this. So he doesn't think that she's a dog or whatever. Yeah. But it's a lesson for the apostles. So actually look at where faith is.
So to piggyback on that, it's interesting then if you look at what he's just said to the disciples, isn't it? He's just talked about purity and impurity and how it's what comes from within that actually defiles us, not what comes from outside. And next thing, what do they see? They see a Canaanite woman. Canaanites totally beyond the pale as far as the Jews were concerned, and a woman, and a member of her family demon-possessed, and hysterically shouting after Jesus. Their alarm bells will be going off, impure, impure, impure. Get her away from here, get her away from here. And as you say, then maybe Jesus is playing along with this in the sense of showing them what the embodiment of this looks like and saying dog. But it's very interesting, his play on the word dog. Some people notice that while the word dog could often be used of the Gentiles by Jews of that time, the word he uses is not kind of like the street cur kind of a dog, but a puppy dog or a lap dog. And very interestingly, some commentators argue that the understanding of dog from the Gentiles was quite different from that of the Jews, that many Gentiles regarded them as domestic animals who could be fed crumbs from the table, whereas in the Jewish culture of the day, they were very much more street curs who were dirty and not worth the time of day. And if there is that nuance in there, then the Canaanite woman seems to pick up the way he's going with this, because she is not deeply wounded or offended by his use of the word dog. And actually, her faith grows because she no longer just calls him the son of David, but it's simply Lord. You know, I was sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Lord, even the puppy dogs under the table, you get the crumbs that fall from the table. So she gets what's going on here. And it seems to me that, that you're right, that there is partly what he's doing is he's mirroring to the disciples some of the inhumanity of where their kind of thinking gets them. And in contrast to this, he shows them an example of faith, just as in Luke 4, of a Gentile, which eclipses their own faith.
Yeah, it's that great faith. It's a really bold statement, isn't it? She has great faith. And it makes me wonder, who would I dismiss as somebody that didn't have something to say? And I think, you know, when I've reflected on some of the people that have really influenced my life, actually they have come from really surprising places.
Yeah.
Really unusual people by the world's eyes have actually demonstrated the most extraordinary faith. And I think it must be an ongoing thing for all of us to think, okay, if I'm excluding a voice, or if I'm not listening to a particular group, why am I doing that? What am I missing?
Yeah. What is it of Christ that we are missing in our dismissal?
Yeah.
Good call.